Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would just talk a bit about how my week went so far because I feel like a lot has happened actually, and I think it would just be good for me to have somewhere to talk about it that's not with my family who went through a lot of similar things. I thought I would just get ready a teeny bit and talk to you guys and just catch up and reflect on the summer and on recent events. If you're interested, please keep watching.
I'm worried that they never gon' love me. I'm worried that I'll be a fucking joke. I'm worried that I don't have control. Don't worry, baby, don't worry. Go and get some sleep while you always in a hurry. You got bigger things planned for you, don't worry. You ain't gotta come to conclusions this early. Don't worry, baby, don't worry. Go and get some sleep while you always in a hurry. You got bigger things.
Well, I'm sure a lot of you are aware, I've heard from the news, but there was a lot of fires here in Northern California. And although it wasn't the first time that we'd experienced fires close to our area, this was definitely the closest they've ever gotten. The red zone, which is the evacuation mandatory zone, got right just behind the hills behind our house. So we were really on the edge of that mandatory evacuation zone. After the fires happened, there was a lot of smoke for a couple of days and we couldn't go outside or open the windows at all. And I really realized again how much the outdoors were playing a really important role in helping me maintain my mental health during coronavirus. So that was really difficult, and because of all the smog outside, I felt like the world was ending. It felt so isolating and claustrophobic kind of, where I felt really trapped inside the house and just really sad overall. I'm really proud of myself because I feel like I was pretty good about just sitting with the sadness and not beating myself up over it too much and not really needing to be super productive or something like that. So I watched a couple of movies and I really enjoyed all of them. I believe on Tuesday I watched this Taiwanese movie called Dear X. This is a movie I had found on Netflix just while kind of looking for something to watch kind of aimlessly several times, and I'm really glad I watched it. It is about this boy who is, I think he's 14, and his father recently passed away, and he was estranged from his father because essentially his father left the family because he came out as gay, and he was living with his lover slash partner slash husband, and then the father got cancer and passed away, and now it's about the relationship between the boy and the boyfriend slash partner of his dad and his mother. He ends up living with the boyfriend for a while, and they're both everyone's working through their grief, and I won't talk too much more about it in case anyone's gonna watch it, but all the characters were just flushed out so well. Yeah, I just really enjoyed that movie, and I love that it was told more through the perspective of that boy, especially in the first half, because he was just typical preteen who he really loves his mother inside and really cares about his family, and he's such a good kid overall, but on the outside he's really prickly to everyone and doesn't listen. And yeah, he was just such a realistic and relatable character. But the second movie I watched was Tigertail. I really enjoyed that as well. It was also coincidentally about a Taiwanese American man, and sort of juxtaposes like flashbacks to the past when he's like a little boy living in Taiwan, and also in the present when I'm guessing he's like in his 50s or 60s because his kids are all grown up and he's actually divorced and living alone and sort of trying to like repair his relationship with his daughter. So in the past you get like scenes of him as a little boy living like on the rice fields with his grandparents, and he meets this girl named Yuan. I think that's how you pronounce it. Later on, when they're older and young adults, they actually become lovers, but the young man, he's working at a factory with his mother and he really wants to give her a comfortable life, and it's his dream to go to America because the factory work is really difficult, and he gets the chance to do that by marrying the factory owner, I think, or manager's daughter, and he goes to America with her and, you know, breaks up with Yuan. I felt like I could see my dad in that old man so much. Like, they have a lot of similar, I want to say like character faults or like character traits, or he says a lot of things that really reminded me of things my dad would say. And similarly to Angela in that film, my dad and I have like not a great relationship. We don't like Angela, we're not like hating each other or something, but I feel like we have such different worldviews, and my dad's always been someone who's believed in sort of like keeping a distance from his children. It's really interesting because I really feel like he made his own choices and that no one forced him to like go to America or something, and like later on his mom doesn't even want to join him because she wants to stay in Taiwan. But also I felt like, you know, his circumstances really pushed him in that direction, and it just leaves you with a very, like, in Korean I would say like a 묘한 feeling, because I feel like he did end up with a pretty decent life. Although at first he works as like a grocery store clerk and lives in a pretty like low income neighborhood, he ends up moving to like the suburbs, I think, and like having a lovely home and like being able to give his children an education and like see them succeed, but at the same time there's so much like sadness with between him and his wife and him and his lost love and him and his children. And the movie overall has just a very somber, sort of solitary and reflective vibe, but I also thought that it was hopeful, and you know, I think similar to Dear Ex, I really like that it gave a lot of depth and complexity to each of the characters and didn't make them just seem, oh, like the strict tiger mom and the strict dad, immigrant dad, and the American child who doesn't understand or something like that, you know? Like, it really gave each character so many more layers than those simple labels we attach to members of an immigrant family. And then finally, the third movie I watched was also on Netflix, and it is called The Half of It. I really enjoyed this movie as well. Like, I feel like I just became so attached to all the characters. There is Ellie, who's like the Chinese American girl living in a very white, like rural town, and she ends up befriending Paul, who is a white boy living in the same town as her, and they become friends because Paul asks Ellie to help him write letters to Aster Flores, who Paul is in love with or has a crush on. And the problem is Ellie actually also likes Aster, but she and Paul end up becoming really close friends, just working on the letters and texting Aster together. But through that process, like, Ellie also falls more and more in love with Aster. And I feel like although in recent years there's been a rise in like Asian American movies, and I do think it's great that there's more representation, I feel like a lot of times people of color, and especially Asian Americans and other like minorities, are represented in such a one-note kind of way, where they're really presented in ways that fulfill a certain stereotype, or they're very like whitewashed. And I really thought these movies presented these characters as like full, whole people with faults, but also I feel like they really helped you like fall in love with each character and like learn about each person really intimately. So I really enjoyed that. Another thing that happened to me this week that I wanted to talk about was I was really disappointed by someone, and that person is a YouTuber that I very frequently watched on YouTube, and I actually also ordered and read 3 of their books, and I was reading the most recent book I bought and very much enjoying it until I got to this chapter, which was about feminism in South Korea. And I was very excited to read this chapter because I haven't personally read or encountered a lot of people who are feminists in Korea and are very vocal about their beliefs and experiences as feminists and as women, but it ended up being a really shocking chapter because essentially I found out that they are a trans-exclusionary feminist. They have very similar viewpoints to J.K. Rowling. Yeah, I was like super hurt and disappointed to read this because, like I mentioned, this is a YouTuber that I was super attached to. I really looked up to them and loved their video style, and I found so much like comfort and inspiration in their writing and their videos, and I feel like I can't think of another instance in which I've been so disappointed by someone and so just hurt. And I read that portion of the book while I was eating breakfast, and immediately I just like got up and opened my laptop and like found their email and started typing them an email. I just felt like I had to write this email and to like communicate to them why I was so shocked and hurt and angry about what they wrote and why it was wrong. Initially, I thought that, oh, this person probably has these beliefs because they've experienced a lot of misogyny. And then that evening, I saw that she had sent me a reply. It ended up being a lot more militant than I'd expected because, like I said, I had thought this person was just someone who was ignorant and like influenced by their own experiences of oppression to have these like violent and discriminatory beliefs, but they sent a very long email expanding on the arguments they presented in their book, and they even like recommended me like some reading to do, and I was just able to realize that this person is not someone who is simply like ignorant or hasn't had the opportunity to learn about these things. They're actually like very actively discriminatory. Although it was really shocking, I'm glad that they replied to me, which I'd also requested, because it allowed me to really let go of that person and decide, you know, clearly this isn't someone who I can just like compassionately try to educate. They have very strong beliefs in this, and I realized, like, you know, there's nothing left that I can really do. I could continue this conversation, but I feel like that wouldn't be something that's productive, and it wouldn't be something that's good for my own mental health. But definitely I've still been thinking about that YouTuber a lot, and just feeling really betrayed and hurt and shocked, to be honest, because I'd really been consuming their content and like recommending it to people and interacting with the work that that person produced on such a frequent frequency that it feels so jarring to discover that they had these beliefs that I hadn't known about at all. I feel like reading that just really made me realize how much I looked up to this person and held them in high esteem. And I had actually just created a lot of assumptions about their political beliefs and what kind of person they were that weren't necessarily founded in like substantive things. But overall, I feel really proud of myself for how I handled that situation. I think I was very compassionate and kind to them in that email while also really standing up for what I believed in and, you know, calling them out on, or rather calling them in on being discriminatory. I'm very proud of myself and feeling like I've actually grown a lot this summer and changed, even though I think this happens to me every summer where I set so many high expectations that are pretty unrealistic a lot of the time, and I end up not achieving all those things and being disappointed in myself. But through that process, I think I grow and change in so many ways that I don't notice on the day-to-day, but as the days and weeks and months accumulate, I'm able to see, I'm not the same person I was as when I ended my sophomore year at the end of May. So yeah, those were just a lot of reflections I've been having on this week. If you have any thoughts on anything I said, or just anything you want to share about how you're doing, please do leave it in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel to, stay in the loop about my upcoming videos. Thank you guys so much for your support and for watching this video. I hope you are having whatever day you need to have, and staying safe and staying healthy and being kind to yourselves. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!